Hi, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I make videos about books. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. In this video, I will be doing a vlog. This is the 3 romance vlog. We knew what was gonna happen. I did 3 thriller. I'm doing other 3s. It just makes sense that I would do romance. So let me show you the books that I am reading for this, and then we will go into the vlog. The first one is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I saw this on TikTok. So if you remember, I'll put it up above. I did a TikTok video and it did not go well, like at all. So we'll see about this one. The next one is By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. I absolutely love Jasmine Guillory. There has literally only been one book that just like didn't hit right for me, but all of her other ones did. And I think that this one is actually a closed door romance, but it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So I am very excited for this one. And then the last one is probably the one I'm most excited for, and that is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren's latest books have really just been hitting right for me recently. When I was first getting into romance, I like binged all of their books and honestly did not like many of them. But the last couple of years, their books have, in my opinion, really stepped up their game and been really good. So I am so excited for this one. So let's get into the vlog. See ya. I am 123 pages into Archer's Voice, and please don't unsubscribe for me, but in my opinion this feels like a very Colleen Hoover book, which is not good for me. I am not a Colleen Hoover lover. Once again, please don't unsubscribe. That is just my opinion, but this feels like a Colleen Hoover book. But basically what is happening is Bree had a traumatic thing happened to her and basically ran away from her hometown and is now in Maine, and she meets this man called Archer who also had this traumatic thing happen to him, and he no longer speaks but he knows sign language, and Bree's father was deaf so she knows sign language, so they speak to each other with American Sign Language, and of course, now they start liking each other. My thing with this is that I don't like trauma bonds. That is a personal preference. I personally, it does nothing for me. And both of these characters are coming from places of deep trauma. Bree's father was murdered and she was almost raped. And when Archer was 7, he was in a car accident that killed his entire family, and after the car accident he became a mute. So like very traumatic things happening to these 2 main characters, and that unfortunately does not work for me. I know it works for a lot of people, which is why people really like Colleen Hoover and why this book was so recommended on TikTok, but unfortunately 120 pages into this, it is not working for me. I am going to pick it up one more time because it could get better. I normally don't look at reviews, but once I realized that this was feeling like a Colleen Hoover, I went and looked at reviews. So I will be giving this, like, I'm sprinting tonight, I'll give it another 45-minute sprint, and that's if I'm liking it more, I will keep going. If I'm not liking it anymore, this will be a DNF. Also, I have the audiobook for this, and I just want to show you the cover that I have on my audiobook that is completely different from the cover I've been holding up for 2 minutes. This originally was published, like self-published, in 2016 and then was republished with Hachette Book Group in 2018, and the audiobook and this book that I have are different. It looks like it was rewritten when it was traditionally published, so I always think that that's interesting. So the audiobook is from 2016 and this is the new 2018 edition, so I always think that's interesting when that happens. But yeah, in my opinion, this feels like a Colleen Hoover. So if you haven't already unsubscribed and you like Colleen Hoover, I absolutely recommend this for you. If you are like me and Colleen Hoover is just not your cup of tea, I will continue to let you know how this goes. This book is like a soap opera. Like, there's so many shitty things happening all at once. Like, I cannot, like, a shitty thing happens and then it's resolved, and then another shitty thing happens and then it resolves, and I'm almost done because I forgot to update because I was, like, so into it. But, like, the biggest, shittiest thing just happened, so I don't know. I finished Archer's Voice, and I'm going to give it 4 stars, but I have some things to say about it. First of all, I believe, just like YA, that I have grown out of new adult, so I probably won't be picking up anything like this ever again. Like I said in my introduction, I got this recommendation off of TikTok, and it was like in the same video as a Colleen Hoover, which makes sense because I think I said that this reminded me a lot of Colleen Hoover, and it definitely did, but I do think the writing was better. So this was so drama-packed, which is what made me fly through this one so freaking fast. Like, I definitely forgot that I was vlogging about this because there were a lot of cliffhangers on chapters to make you keep going so fast, and it was super smart. But I also felt like emotionally manipulated because these big things that you thought were happening were huge things that would change the story completely, and then we would get to the next chapter and it wouldn't be like you thought was happening. So I felt like really manipulated about that, and I don't know if that's just the new adult genre, because that was some of my criticisms with Colleen Hoover. So I still gave this 4 stars because of how I personally rate things. I flew through this and it was entertaining, but that doesn't mean that I loved everything about this. So I am going to keep this, but I do think I'm done with new adult and anything that is like going to be compared to Colleen Hoover. I do think that this is better than a Colleen Hoover, but I don't want to feel like emotionally manipulated like this again. So I think I will stick to my rom-coms and my dark mafia romance, and I will leave new adult behind. But if you really like Colleen Hoover, I think that you would absolutely love Archer's Voice. I think I said in my introduction that the audiobook is a little bit different than this edition, and that's because this was like rewritten a little bit before it was published under Hachette. So it wasn't like big things, it was just a little bit of phrasing and sentences were like fixed a little bit. So 4 stars for Archer's Voice. I will be keeping this, but I'm done with new adult. That's it. Can't explain it to you. Hi, it's been a couple hours since my last update and like 12 hours since I finished this book, and I'm going to change my rating to 3 stars, and that is because I tried to start another book for another project and I cannot stop thinking about this book, but not in a good way. Normally when I change my rating, I usually up my rating a star, but I'm going to change my rating to 3 stars, and I am going to unhaul this. And that is simply because for me, I don't like when in romance someone's trauma is their whole backstory and like personality. For example, in Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, the main character has a lot of trauma with emotional abuse, but it is not what propels her into the love interest. Like, that is not what brought them together, and that worked for me. But both of these main characters have super big traumas, like that life-changing traumas that like brought them together, and for me personally that just did not work for me. So I'm giving Archer's Voice, I'm gonna leave that first clip so you can see all my thought processes, but I have decided to give this 3 stars, and I will be unhauling it. And like I said before, I will no longer be reading new adult like this, especially with like a trauma bond. Like, I don't like trauma bonds. So this was a roller coaster of a book and a rating system. So thanks for hanging in there. I hope the other books go better. So I'm 100 pages into By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. First of all, I just freaking love Jasmine Guillory. I think her books are so cute and her writing is just so good. But this follows Isabel, or Izzy, who is a publishing assistant, and she has this like celebrity that is supposed to write a memoir, but he hasn't been doing it. So she's in California and she is basically staying at his house and helping him write his memoir. And we know what's going to happen, right? So the whole Beauty and the Beast thing is that she's like a prisoner at his mansion or whatever, but she's really not. She can leave. She's gone to the bookstore and stuff. And then there is like a big library in his house, of course, which is Beauty and the Beast, and there's just like a whole bunch of Beauty and the Beast references. I'm really liking this. This is the second in the like retelling series after If the Shoe Fits by Julia Murphy, which I absolutely love. It made my best books of the year list, so I have a feeling I'm really gonna love this. It's just such an easy read. I believe it's going to be closed door, which absolutely does not bother me because I'm just having such a good time reading this. Also, I really just like books about books. So overall, 100 pages in, I'm really liking this. Also, it's super short. I'm 100 pages in. I'm 32% of the way in, which I absolutely love. You will see in my other videos, I am kind of in a slump right now, and I think it's because I'm focusing, I'm a mood reader, and I am focusing so much on whatever library hold is about to expire. So this expires in 3 days and people are waiting for it, which is why I am reading this one now. But I felt like I was in the mood for this because it's February and I'm in the mood for romance. So this is great. So I'm really liking this one. I am 70% into By the Book. I'm still really liking this. I, however, feel like it's a little slow and that's because it's a slow burn. But otherwise, there's absolutely, like, it's adorable. I love these characters. I love that it's about writing books because I also am a writer, so I really am relating to that. The only thing is that like this is literally so silly, but there is no way that they would have an editorial assistant stay at someone's house. Like that is, I'm trying to disbelieve this, obviously, which is fine. I could totally do that. But just that it's a little slow or too long or something, but it's literally only 300 pages, but it just feels like a little dragged out. That's it. So I'm almost done. Really loving this. I finished By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. This was great. I personally don't think it was as good as If the Shoe Fits, which is weird because I feel like I don't really like Cinderella, but I really did like the Bachelor type show, so whatever. I still really like this. I feel like the reason I didn't like it as much as If the Shoe Fits is because this was such a slow burn, and I am not a slow burn girly, but like it paid off in the end, and the ending was just so adorable that I have to give this 5 stars. But I still feel like I like If the Shoe Fits more. But 5 stars for By the Book. I feel like, with one exception of Jasmine Guillory's that I have read, she like cannot do any wrong. Like I absolutely love her books so much. They're just like, they just feel like a warm hug. And normally all of the other books that I have read by her have been smut on page, and this one was closed door, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything by it being closed door. So yeah, I absolutely love this one. 5 stars for By the Book, and I am glad that I have found a good romance for this 3 romance video. So yeah, that's good. I am 100 pages into Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. This is cute so far. So this is following Leo and Lily, who 10 years ago worked together at a ranch and then got together. And then he left really suddenly to go back to New York when something happened to his mother. And then, of course, there was a little miscommunication and Lily never heard from Leo again. So now fast forward 10 years later, and Lily is working for this company out in the wilderness where they like ride horses and like do outdoorsy stuff. I would not know anyway. And of course, Leo is a part of this group and they reconnect. And in the first 100 pages, we find out why, you know, Lily never heard from Leo again. And I was anticipating a really big miscommunication, and although there was a miscommunication, she handled it pretty well, I thought. So I have 200 pages left. What's going to happen? Obviously, it's a romance, so they're gonna get back together. Here's the thing about me personally. I don't love second chance romances from personal experience. But I don't know, I really like Christina Lauren's newer stuff. And so far, I'm really liking the writing of this. I absolutely love the setting of this because it is something that I absolutely would never do. And the fact that two women are in charge of this like big outdoor adventure thing, I'm really liking. So I want to say, even though it is a second chance romance and there was a little bit of miscommunication, I'm definitely not hating it. So we'll see. I am 55% into Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, and I can tell you straight out right now that this is definitely not one of my favorite Christina Laurens. I don't know how to describe it to you, but it just doesn't have the heart of like The Soulmate Equation or Love and Other Words. Like, it just doesn't. This went into a direction that I was not expecting. Like right after I did my first update, something happens, which is definitely spoiler, so I won't be talking about it, but I was just like, what? So basically now what I can tell you is that they are going on a real life treasure hunt, and I personally don't care about it. So yeah, like I don't know. Like, I always think that their writing is so good, but I feel like sometimes their stories just like miss the mark, and this is definitely happening right now. So 55% in, it feels like a solid 3-star, and there is nothing wrong with a 3-star. But the last 2 books that I have read by Christina Lauren were like some of my favorite books I had read ever. So the fact that this is just like very meh for me feels so sad. But again, I'm only 55% in, so what could happen in this last 45%? Like, anything could blow me away. So we'll see. Also, there is like, obviously this is a romance, so there is a romance, but it is a second chance romance, which I know I've talked about before, but it's just not really my thing, so we'll see. I finished Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I haven't figured out on Goodreads whether to put it 3 or 4. When is Goodreads gonna get half stars? Please. But I ended up liking this more than I thought I was from my last vlog clip. But I was listening to their acknowledgements, and they said that they wanted to do like a fun book after The Soulmate Equation. And I think The Soulmate Equation was more fun than this. That's just me, but this was okay. I think for me, it was the second chance romance thing and like the adventure I wasn't like super sold on, but I think I am going to keep this, and then we'll see later on, like this year or next year, if I want to unhaul it. But let's do a little wrap up. I read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I decided on 3 stars for this one, and I am going to unhaul it. I probably won't read anything like this again. And then I read By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. Absolutely love this. 5 stars. I will be keeping this. I absolutely recommend this one. It is a closed door, but like if you're in it for the character chemistry, I think you'll really, really like this one. And then last but not least is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. 3.5 stars. I think I'm gonna put it 4 stars on Goodreads because that's usually what I do, so like why change it now? And I will be keeping this. So these are the 3 books I have read for 3 romances. I'm glad I read these and I'm getting this off my shelf, keeping these 2. Absolutely recommend By the Book. This was okay. I'm excited for their next one. Like, I am always still interested in Christina Lauren, even if sometimes they don't hit the mark for me. So yeah, so thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Bye.
Losing time, I'm fading fast.